Now we're going to start out today with picking up with the last concept that we learned yesterday, which is being able to graph an equation that's given to us without making a table, by being able to read the equation. Now to review our steps from yesterday, if you recall, our first step is to find our m and our b, or our slope and our y-intercept. Step 2 was then to plot our b, or plot our y-intercept, and finally use our slope to plot 2 more points and then graph it. So if we take a look at this first example here of y equals x plus 5, I take a look at this x here, and there's no number in front of the x. But if I recall from way back when we first started learning about variables, if there is no variable in front of the x, it therefore means that the variable, or the number in front, is 1. So I'm going to make a note that my slope is equal to 1. But if I recall, slope is rise over run, or change in y over change in x. Therefore my slope is going to be 1 over 1. Then I want to take a look at finding that y-intercept. And if I remember, this takes on the form of y equals mx plus b. So this plus 5 here is therefore going to be our b. So I'm going to make a note of that b is equal to 5. Then going according to our steps, I am going to plot our points, and I'm going to start with that plus 5 of our y-intercept. So I'm going to count up on the y-axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to make a point here of our y-intercept. And then, because my slope is 1 over 1, I'm going to count up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1 to make my points. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and graph my line. And there we go. If you want to extend it out further, you can, but this is the minimum requirement. I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I'm trying a new way for setting these videos up, so if they're a little bit sloppy, please forgive me. So now let's go ahead to this next graph, and we've got here an opportunity to take a look at one with a fraction. We have here y equals -3/2 x plus 4. So my first thing I'm going to do is take a look at that number in front of the x, which is -3/2, which tells me that my slope, or m, is going to be a -3/2. Now the discussion that's come up since we started working with slope is, where does that negative go? It can go in the top, or it can go in the bottom, as long as it doesn't go in both. So then I'm going to take a look at that b, which here is plus 4, so I'm going to mark down that my y-intercept is 4, and then I'm going to go ahead and graph. So we take a look at this, I'm going to go up 4 on the y-intercept, and I'm going to plot my point there, and then I got to go rise over run, down 3, forward 2, so count down 3 over 2 and graph another point, and then down 3 over 2 and graph another point, and then finally I'm going to connect my dots as carefully as I can. I apologize. And put my arrowheads on my ends so I recognize that it is a line.